I'm going to take the longer route down because, yeah, I'm wondering where the bull is. Oh, just a second.
Hi there.
Hello.
If you go down to the little hut there,
Yeah.
you've got space at the side there for motorbikes. It keeps them handy and under watch.
Oh, that's brilliant. Thanks very much. I appreciate that. Cheers. Ah, that was very nice. And they actually keep an eye out for your motorbikes as well. Hi, mate. Just stick it in front of here, yeah? Brilliant. Thank you. Yeah. And they even care about your motorbike as well. Right. Let's go see Lyveden. Morning. The day we visited, there was a historical reenactment at Lyveden New Bield. A 17th century army camp had been set up at the manor house. Morning. From what I could tell, it was cleaner to camp in the 17th century than it is to go and camp at Glastonbury Festival.
Hello.
Morning.
If you head up towards New Bield, the soldiers are all up there doing a display.
It was anywhere between half a mile to 1 kilometre to get to the demonstration, but if you want to keep it authentic for the time, that's roughly about 45 chains. Ooh, what's going on here? The regimental display explained the use of pikes, muskets, the colours, and how officers could communicate with their soldiers in battle by beating the drum.
Drums and colours, march on! Yesterday we nearly lost our colours to Leicestershire.
They really brought to life how effective all this was and how rapidly warfare changed during the period of the English Civil War, moving from bows and arrows, shield walls, knights and swords to the adoption and the use of gunpowder and everything that entailed.
Come and have a go if you think you're hard enough.
It's easier to use than a bow. A bowman would take basically a lifetime.
Here is an example from the Battle of Gettysburg, over 200 years into the future from this point, about the stress of battle and how that could impact a soldier's performance.
In the stress of battle, things go wrong. At the Battle of Gettysburg, which is obviously the later period, they found muskets on the battlefield that had been loaded 12 times and never fired. So the people had just been going through the loading drill, forgetting to put, in this case, a firing cap, firing the gun, reloading, and probably didn't realise it was all going wrong until they couldn't fit the ramrod in the end anymore. Make ready! 3. So what they're doing is they're priming their hands with a small amount of powder. They'll close the powder. They'll blow off the loose cords and the gun will go take a main charge, put it down the barrel. Put the wadding down the barrel. They'll put a musket down the barrel, then they'll ram it home. They'll withdraw the ramrod, scarring stick, and they'll put it back. If they don't put it back, they'll fire it and they'll never fire the gun again. So they've lost the way of loading it. How many is that?
27.
32 seconds.
Oh, right, okay.
You counting? Oh.
I'm in the wrong place, I just realised that. Pike, lay down your arms.
They even showed how they disciplined soldiers.
Remove your gloves. So, yesterday, one of our sergeants couldn't find his helmet. So, what we have is a punishment detail called Run the Gauntlets. I will replace Due Sergeant whilst he runs the gauntlet, where his men may hit him as hard as they wish. It's mystery. I'm ready. I'm back. I'm back.
He's very popular young sergeant.
We haven't finished.
The brutality didn't stop there.
Another sergeant made orders. Mr. Weir, lay down your arms. He has a disadvantage because he doesn't have a helmet. No. Carry on, sir. I'm back.
So if you're at work and think a written warning isn't good enough, get them to run the gauntlet. This is how it should be done. Maybe leave the HR department out of this one.
Well, so we are Lord John Robarts, Regiment Foot, members of the Sealed Arts. Thank you very much.
If you enjoyed this, get on the National Trust website and you can find these events all over the country. And away they marched, back to camp. Now it was time for me to turn around and look around Lyveden New Bield. If you're over 3 foot tall, please take note of the warning sign and mind your head. As you walk around the lodge, you can see that it stood the test of time. You can still see Sir Thomas Tresham's ideas and the symbology that he was going to put into this building, and that his faith was truly at the heart of everything that he did. If you come here, then you'll get to see more of the detail that I can't pick up here on the GoPro. This is human history, a direct connection with I. Smith of Lyveden, who was stood here in 1790 and still can be remembered as of today. As well as the names, you can see evidence that the building was used for target practice in the English Civil War. The house, and the gardens that are just uncovering have been for the last several years. Sir Thomas Tresham was planning a grand garden with an orchard and a labyrinth. And thanks to the Luftwaffe, the National Trust are able to bring back his original ideas. And then it was back to the manor house for the much needed coffee and cake. Well, it has to be done, doesn't it? So I'm back in the helmet. Well, that was fun. Definitely fun. And to see the reenactment. Thank you, have a nice day. Bye! So that was thoroughly enjoyable. Not only was it family friendly, not only was it dog friendly, but it was most definitely motorbike friendly. And I even had no worries about leaving my bike, and I left my helmet with the bike, I left the cameras on the bike. Absolutely no worries whatsoever. So that was Lyveden, the property the Treasure was sitting for. Finish. And now I'm having a ride to the last location for today, and that's what was the Motte and Bailey Castle at Fotheringhay. This is my very first video, so again, apologies for all the mistakes. The old Wheatsheaf pub, here it is. It's a shame that's been turned into property. So a friend of mine got married there. Really good night, really good night. I'll tell you all about it, but it was so good I can't remember it. I really hope they never find the pictures. What the hell am I doing here? Okay. That's where I made a mistake. I was enjoying myself too much. Right, I've never been down here before. If you're on a sports bike, I would recommend you not coming this way. Okay, discovering new roads around Northamptonshire. Gates with bullet holes. And please keep gate closed at all time. You know what? I'm going to take the longer route down because, yeah, I'm wondering where the bull is. Yeah, I'm going to take the... Basically, folks, I'm going to chicken out. Stop. Yep. Right, let's see what we can do with this. Oh, there you go, enable voice. I should have probably done that.
In Scenic, all I had to do was hit the grid in the bottom right hand corner and enable voice. However, if you want to mute voice, you too can go over the same piece of road and get to know the same corners as well as I did on this ride.
So what I did there was I've realised I'm not going through a field full of cows. I'm going to take the easy option. I was really looking forward to this, but no, I'm not, because if there's a bull in there, I don't think the bull will be over happy, and I don't think the farmer's going to be over happy with me. There's another junction I think that will take me round, so guess what?
I get to do that bit of road again. An English summer, a Triumph motorbike, and they're playing cricket. Right, let's try that again, shall we? To be honest, I've spent more time at both locations that I was planning to. The cake was, as I said before, was lovely. The Triangular Lodge, there's a lot more there than you realise. It's not just a small building, and there was a couple of people there from English Heritage to tell you about a few things. So it's not just a case of turn up and you're left by your Todd. Lyveden was just obviously with the reenactment going on, there was a lot of people there. The building itself is fascinating to walk around. I'll probably go back and have a look at the gardens. The cafe was well stocked. And Scenic has created this route for me that I'm really chuffed that I've come out today on the bike. I could have quite easily stayed at home, found an excuse not to come out. But the three locations that I chose today as my first ever video for the channel are linked, and that's why I'm using some of the old roads as well, as if it was from 400 years ago. So you've got Tresham Senior, Sir Thomas, Catholic, farmer, landowner, rich. Another horse. It's always good to practice your slow speed handling, isn't it? Practice wherever you can. Yeah, so as I say, it's always good to practice your slow speed. So, as I was saying, the three locations that for my first video today, to try and maybe get you in the interest to either jump on the bike to come and visit one or two or all three locations, are all linked, or even if it's just a case of I like the look of those roads, I'll download that route and go have a bit of fun. There's cake to be had. So Thomas, Tresham, landowner, Catholic, proud of his Catholicism, starts building these monuments to his religion while also paying the equivalent of millions of pounds in fines. His son gets wrapped up in the gunpowder plot and therefore dies in the Tower of London. Meaning that Lyveden cannot be completed, and it is a testimony to that Elizabethan age now. And then what have you got left? You've got Fotheringhay. Out of all the locations, this is the one that there's just nothing left. Fotheringhay was quite a well-to-do place. It was a Norman castle. Thank you very much. Say thank you. And it was an important estate. And we'll visit it a couple more times after today. Richard III, the car park king, was born there. And probably the reason it's in ruins now is the king, James I of England, the James VI of Scotland,
His mum, Mary Queen of Scots, spent her last night alive on the planet there. It's 1587. So only 6 years before the start of the construction of the Ruston Triangular Lodge. She was tried for treason against Elizabeth I, and that execution was carried out at Fotheringhay Castle. Now you have to think, when James I came to the throne and somebody said to him, "We've got this castle in Northamptonshire, yeah, it's called Fotheringhay, we need a bit of money for it." I don't think he was over keen on upkeeping this place where, let's face it, you have to read it, his mum came to a brutal end. I mean, it wasn't just a case of off with a head, bang, chop, blah, 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 as it rolled across the floor. No, it was contemporary accounts of the time. Go read it. Fotheringhay Castle, what was a grand castle, Bottom Bailey, was left to go into disrepair. And by the start of the First English Civil War, 1640-ish, it was in ruin. It was falling apart. It needed money spent on it, a lot of money of it spending on it, and people did what they did in those days and went, those bricks seem to be going spare, and they went and borrowed them. I mean, I won't go into too much detail now, but when you see the place, you'll see that there's not much there now, but the history that surrounds Fotheringhay is definitely worth a look at, and something to revisit later. Now, as a side note, apparently the staircase that was originally in the castle, what Mary Queen of Scots did walk down on the fateful morning of her execution, that was moved into a local village in Oundle, the Talbot Hotel, and that's where I got married. My wife came down those steps. I'll let you fill in the blanks on that one, because, you know, whatever I say now is going to be just she'll see it. Yeah, I can't think of a single thing where I can say right now where the frying pan, I'll have to wear my helmet in bed, and not in the way you're thinking either. So Fotheringhay, 1 mile. Right, let's go. And here's Fotheringhay. And that is Fotheringhay Castle.
Then, groping for the block, she laid down her head, putting her chin over the block with both her hands, which, holding there still, had been cut off had they not been espied. Then, lying upon the block most quietly and stretching out her arms, cried, "Imanimus tuus, Domine," 3 or 4 times. Then she, lying very still upon the block, one of the executioners holding her slightly with one of her hands, she endured 2 strokes of the other executioner with an axe. she making very small noise and none at all, and none stirring any part of her from the place where she lay. And so the executioner cut off her head, saving one little gristle, which being cut asunder, he lift up her head to the view of all the assembly and bade, "God save the Queen!" Then her dress of lawn falling from off her head, it appeared as grey as one of 70 years old, pulled very short. Her face in a moment being so much altered from the form she had when she was alive, as few could remember her by her dead face. Her lips stirred up and down a quarter of an hour after her head was cut off. Then Mr. Dean, Dr. Fletcher, Dean of Peterborough, said with a loud voice, "So perish all the Queen's enemies!" And afterwards the Earl of Kent came to the dead body and standing over it with a loud voice said, "Such end of all the Queen's and the Gospel's enemies!" And so, every man being commanded out of the hall, except the sheriff and his men, she was carried by them up into the great chamber, lying ready for the surgeons to embalm her.
So that's our ride today. We've discovered the triangular lodge at Ruston, Lyveden New Bield, that were owned by the Treshams. And this is where we finish. On what would have been the keep, just overlooking where Mary, Queen of Scots, would have spent her last morning, looking out over the Northamptonshire countryside. Rode some brilliant roads, discovered some fantastic things. That reenactment was amazing to watch, and the explanations from the people there. And I think there's only one more thing to do. And just down from here, as you'd have seen on the sign, there's a little village called Oundle. Well, when you say little, it's bigger than Lil. Bigger than Lil. Please, apologies, it's my first one. And there's a lovely little coffee shop there. I think it's time for another cake. You should always maybe reward yourself after a good ride. If you've liked the ride, if you've liked the video, please give us a thumbs up. If you've liked it and this is my first one and you want to see where this goes, subscribe to the channel. It'll be great to take you with me. I will obviously be dropping more and more content onto YouTube and onto Instagram. Please follow us there as well, so you know what we're doing and what other trips we'll be coming up with. As we build up our catalogue as well, you'll see more and more of my rides appearing on the Scenic app. And I'll go into a little bit more detail about where I hope this will go. So it'd be great to get you to come along for the ride. Let's go discover some more rides and routes, and let's discover some more places where you can just jump on your bike and have a great time. Remember, as always, if you're going to do this, stay safe, get home to your family, but have fun doing it.